Hey, Eric with the Cincinnati Throwing Club again. Just wanted to talk to you quickly about routines. It's probably the most overlooked aspect of pitching and preparation that I've come across in the last few years, specifically in college and most importantly in pro ball. I was actually very surprised in short season ball that a lot of the draft picks we had and even some of the international players we had really didn't have a routine. Didn't have a pregame routine, didn't have a bullpen routine. So it's really important for us as pitching coaches to really help you develop and grow with your routines. There is such a difference between being arm ready and game ready. I think that's one of the other things that has surprised me over the years is guys will go down to the bullpen to get ready. Let's say a reliever would roll down and he'd throw 10 pitches, I'm ready. Well, not really. You're probably arm ready, but you're not game ready. There is a difference. Feeling that your arm's loose and ready to go, yeah, okay, might be arm ready, but truly to be mentally ready to go and being able to execute your pitches, you need to be game ready, and you need to have a routine. A lot of times I ask pitchers what their routine is, and if I don't have one, I usually get something like, well, I throw 5 or 6 fastballs, a couple of breaking balls, and a changeup, and then I'm good to go. No, not really. What you need to be looking at, and we're going to talk about relievers here specifically, we're talking about them first. If you're coming into a game and you know that you're going to be likely facing the 5-hole, 6-hole, and 7-hole hitter, for example, you need to have an idea of how you're going to approach them. You should be keeping a chart. You should know what those players have done, and you should have been watching the game to understand how you've been having success getting them out. If you have the luxury of knowing that you're going to come in the game and you're already ready and prepared and you can get in the dugout before the inning to speak to the catcher, that's a good opportunity for you to get on the same page. But in case you don't, let's say it's a situation where you get a call down in the pen, hey, we get somebody on here, you better get up, get ready to go. That happens, obviously, so you know who's ahead of you. You've got to get ready based on the situation. So being able to come in and throw 2 fastballs away, 2 fastballs inside. Can you locate one down at the bottom of the zone? What is your next best pitch? Is that a curveball? Is it a slider? Is it a changeup? You need to throw your next best pitch off of your fastball and being able to locate that inside, outside, wherever it may be. Maybe for you, you've got a really good changeup that's got run. You want to make sure you're getting your executable action on that pitch. We see this a lot where guys just, again, they just throw and whatever happens, happens. And I've also heard the excuse, well, I get 8 more when I get out there. Yeah, but that's not the time to get ready. The time to get ready is in the pen. So if you're going to come into a game, you're going to face some hitters that you may have a scouting report on, or maybe you don't. You do need to know a routine that you can get into. You should have already been prepared and done your bands and some of your arm exercises to activate your arm. You should have been following along in the game to know where you're at in the game and start managing the stress of the situation. Because coming into a game is stressful. I don't care who you are. I don't care what kind of face that you put on. There's going to be certain reactions to your body based on the stress. And that's why the mental piece, the breathing piece that comes with this is so important to be able to control your body and control your mind. Because whatever happens in your mind comes out of your pitching hand. So go into the bullpen and know it takes me 13, 14, 15 pitches, whatever it may be, to get ready. Not arm ready, but game ready. Execute those pitches. Have a plan. Write them down. A lot of the pitching coaches I've worked with in pro ball and some in here just even in the last few months, we've talked about that. Having an absolute executable plan that every time you go to get ready, here's what you do. And this really helps assimilate you to the situation. It's going to make you more successful. And then you also really need your post-throwing routine, which we've covered that before as well, with your recovery, which is just as important as everything that you do before a game, okay? So make sure that that's all-encompassing, but have a plan, execute it, okay, and then follow it up with your post-care. Now for starters, that's a whole different ball of wax, okay? I noticed even, again, throughout college ball and through pro ball, there's guys that like to go out different times. It takes different guys, different amounts of time to get ready. Some guys need a long toss longer. I went and saw Clayton Kershaw pitch and watched his entire pregame routine. He has it down to the minute. Okay, granted, he has a full staff of people helping him, but his routine isn't going to change. He knows exactly. I watched him look at the clock, and when it turned a certain minute, he started doing something different. Okay, that's the epitome of having a routine. The day of the game, you should have a routine. Mentally, you're preparing yourself earlier in the day. Here's who I'm facing today. I know this lineup pretty well. I've done some homework. You're preparing yourself with positive mental thoughts. Hopefully you're doing some breathing exercises. You're doing some mental exercises that Jagger does a great job of talking about in their mental skills. It's very important to prepare yourself mentally for that day. And once you get to the field, what time do you stretch? What time are you going to do your activations, your bands? What time are you going to go out and toss? What time do you want to start throwing in the bullpen? All these things are important. To simply just show and go is really putting yourself at risk to fate. And maybe you're just a good enough athlete that you can get by with that, but once you get to a certain level, that'll go away. So it's been my experience, especially in Pro Bowl, that guys need somewhere between 9 and 11 minutes of throwing off the mound to actually get ready. But before that, they've gone out, they've stretched, they've been with their trainer, they're activated, they're ready to go. They toss for X amount of time and X amount of distance, and that's different for everybody. But they do have a routine. You need to figure out what your routine is, and you'll always be working on your routine, but you need to get something comfortable that you can use long term. Also, between innings, what is your routine? Are you evaluating the inning? When do you want to talk with the pitching coach? I've had guys that don't want to talk between innings. That's perfectly fine. I've had other guys that are there, they can't wait to get some feedback. How did this look? How did that look? And you have to manage those pitchers, which is fine, but you do need to take everybody for face value. Some guys need help, some guys don't. Some guys don't want to talk about their outing until the next day. Perfectly fine. But know the routine. As a pitcher, know your routine. As a pitching coach, know their routine. You got to be on top of it. One of the other things that we experienced is a lot of guys throw way too many pitches to get ready. I've noticed it with starters and relievers. We've kept our number for most of our starters is right around 25, 28. That's plenty of pitches. If you can work fastballs inside, fastballs away, maybe if guys have higher velocity, they can work top of the zone. And they were also able to mix in their breaking ball and their changeup, and then also go from the stretch, which is something that I've even as a recruiting coordinator, I would go and watch. Guys would warm up only from the full, never from the stretch. And then they go get in a stretch in the first inning, and it would look terrible. And they never practiced it that day. You've got to really stay on top of these types of things. You've got to know how many pitches it takes you to get game ready as a starter, as a reliever, and how am I going to execute that. I've also seen guys go down to the bullpen and you have a longer inning. Maybe you score 4 runs in an inning and it's a longer inning, and they're still throwing down there. And you've called down the bullpen, hey, stop. Or you need to understand that when you're ready, okay, and granted you need to stay ready, but for every 2 pitches that's going on in the game, you throw 1. And if the game gets really long, just put your glove down and your arm is ready. You're mentally ready to go. You don't have to continue to throw. I've actually seen where guys are just keep pumping. We've told them, hey, cut it out, stop. All of a sudden they don't want to listen, and they come into the game, they're not very effective because they're tired. Their stuff's not crisp. Don't do that to yourself. If you have a routine, you know what pitches you need to execute, you know what your primary, your secondary, and your third pitch is. If you even have 3 pitches, practice those in the bullpen. Practice as if you're throwing to a hitter. Know who's coming up. Visualize that. Visualize you're facing the 5-hole hitter. Visualize you're facing the 6-hole hitter, lefty, righty, whatever it may be. Don't always go from the full and don't always go from the stretch. Have a plan, but be ready. And being ready constitutes having a routine, something that you can execute. I hope this was helpful for you. We definitely want to get good information out to you. If you have any suggestions also, please let us know. You can follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, and of course on our YouTube channel. We look forward to getting some more information out to you this year. Thanks a lot.